Hey, my name's Nathan Jones. Welcome
Hi.
to the new film journey with Heath Holland.
Thanks for having me.
Anyway,
I really like movies. I've seen I've seen 87.
I've only seen 85. You're ahead of me.
You have a long way to go, but you have all the time that you need, and you'll do it.
Thanks. I believe in myself. I'm glad. All right, let's start.
Okay.
Hey everyone, my name is Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. I talk about all things movies, specifically Blu-rays. But today we have an incredible guest on today. We have Heath Holland from Serial at Midnight. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to finally have met you, and we have some good mutual friends in the community, and so
Yeah.
I'm just super happy to finally meet the guy who has the tiki.
Oh, yeah. I forget he's over here sometimes. I used to have plans for like bits and stuff. He was in some bits at some point, and it just becomes like he just becomes part of the scenery, and people be like, "What's the tiki with the hat?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I've really failed at marketing
Oh,
the Captain Tiki brand." He has shirts like there's Captain Tiki merchandise, and I forget he's here 99% of the time.
like, oh, you notice him. I don't even notice him half the time.
Yeah,
Like he's the one who drives the ship, but at the same time, like, yeah, it's autopilot. I don't,
yeah.
so that
Maybe we're
reminds.
gonna get rid of some stuff in here and do some organizing. The futon, the days of the futon are numbered, and maybe there'll be like just a little stand with a light on it in the back, and we'll just put Captain Tiki on it, and he can just be like silently overseeing the proceedings.
Oh yeah, it's like the overseer, right?
Yeah,
Um, and we need someone like that. And Captain
yeah,
Tiki, I'm glad he's there.
yeah.
So, but yeah, you know what today's all about. We're talking about film journey, and so this is a tried and true thing that everyone who has kind of seen this kind of already knows the questions. And so I'll try to throw in some curveballs as well, just to keep you on your
Listen.
toes.
No, no,
All right,
no,
I guess we're done. So,
no. Okay.
yeah.
This
Uh,
this is over.
this is over.
It's over.
Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you can follow Heath. He's in the description down below.
All right, bring it,
um,
bring it.
so the first question is, so obviously looking at the back, where the captain's at, and then all the films around you. Think about your earliest memories with film. What do you remember?
I remember my earliest memories that I think so theatrically. My mom took me to see like a repertory screening of um, there's the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh and the Sword and the Stone,
Hmm.
sometime in the 80s, and we watched Winnie the Pooh, and then we left for the Sword and the Stone because it was satanic, and so this is a theme with Serial at Midnight, and a theme with me is like, wait, that's not satanic. That's actually really cool. I have to pursue this. So, of course, like later on, I'm reading like T.H. White, King Arthur books, and I'm like, Excalibur is the greatest movie from John Borman. And
I just read
uh,
Once and Future King, so I have to do this. Yeah.
yes, yes, exactly. So that's the earliest one. And then, like at home, we always like we were an early adopter of the beta format. So we would rent we had a copy of Swiss Family Robinson on beta, another Disney movie. Lo and
Hmm.
behold, I was very much a Disney kid. And we would tape, we had recorded off of television Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, and I think we had 1 and 2, the motion picture and The Wrath of Khan, recorded off of TV on beta. And those got a lot of plays. Those two. I don't know which came first, but those are the earliest memories.
You don't know which one came first, like Star Trek 2 or Star Trek 1?
No,
Yeah.
no, I don't remember if I saw if the Sword and the Stone story came first, or if it was like
Right.
that's my earliest theatrical memory, and it's my earliest it's my earliest physical media experience.
Yeah. Well, did you enjoy the first Star Trek when you were growing up?
I
Because it's
did.
okay. I was gonna say it's a little bit dialogue heavy, right, on the first one.
Yeah, I don't know that I cared because I don't know. It was probably cut too because it was off of television, so it had probably been edited and I was always really scared of there's like a transporter accident, that scene, and that really freaked me out. So I would have been too young to follow it. I think I was probably just watching and just like, aliens and sound effects and stuff like that, like ships.
Not Satan, though.
Not Satan.
No,
No.
he wasn't there. Although
No.
Satan in space, that does sound appealing.
There's a Shatner joke in there that I'm not going to make, but
Okay. So I guess from there, so that Betamax, when did you like adopt VHS and like did you adopt VHS and
yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I got Canadian there. Oh yeah, I totally did. We had in like 89, Batman was the first movie I can remember where they like Blockbuster would do the like we have 50 copies of Batman from 1989 and it's guaranteed. So if you show up on a Thursday night at 7 p.m., we'll have Batman. But then they would sell them later. Like you could pre-order a used copy of Batman for like $9.99, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't do that, but my friend did that, and he didn't want it for some reason. Like he traded it to me. It was a previewed copy from Blockbuster that he had traded to me for something. I probably traded him comics. So like maybe some old issues of New Defenders, I think is maybe what it was, but we're getting real deep now. But
no, I got those too in the closet actually.
Nice.
New Defenders.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Batman was the first videotape that I somehow got my hands on, that previewed Blockbuster copy. And I mean, I watched it over and over and over again. And then the next year was Dick Tracy, and it was a similar story. Like I loved Dick Tracy, the summer of 1990. And then Home Alone was another Blockbuster deal where you could have your previewed copy. And then Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, that's the one. The other movies kind of led up to Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, but Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is my movie. It's the movie that I credit with launching all of this. That's what created my fandom, in the sense that it was the first movie that I was really particularly aware of, like the director and the cast. And I was like, oh, this is Morgan Freeman from Driving Miss Daisy. And he's a big deal. He's like an Oscar winner, and he's doing this thing. And and Christian Slater's here from Young Guns too. And I was like, I connected all these dots, and I was like, and this is directed by, I'm like 11 or 12 when all this is happening, but it was forming this fandom.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point, so I had those 4 VHS tapes. We had I didn't have the Star Wars trilogy until the THX re-release, the 90, like buy it again for the last time, or however they marketed that.
Yeah, I actually vaguely recall that market.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big deal, and we were like, what do they mean for the last time? Like, how are you gonna suppress Star Wars? But lo and behold, he meant business. Like, they went away. You can't get those original cuts anymore. I mean, you can, but not
the
officially.
internet, yeah, but not officially. Which will not sell that. Will not send a link in the description. No.
The despecialized Harmy, who I don't. So by like 95, I had a job, and I was just like spending too much money on movies. I remember I got in trouble one time because I'd gone after work to the mall to Suncoast Motion Picture Company, and I spent like $50 on Monty Python VHSs. And I didn't really like $50 in 1995 or 96. Like that was a
little bit, yeah.
Especially when your paycheck was like $78. And so I brought them home, and my mom found them, and she was like, "Did you buy these?" I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Can you take them back?" I was like, "No, I don't think I can take them back." And so like I think I got grounded for that, because
which is a good Monty Python bit as it in its own right.
I don't think anyone told me that Satan was in Monty Python though, so that was good.
No, that's right. He is in
Maybe The Life of Brian a little bit. That was
a little holier, a little bit more holier than thou.
Yeah. So yeah, VHS was, and by like 99 when DVD came along, I had like a VHS version of this. Like I was spending all my. You could go to Walmart and you could pick up I don't know, Liar Liar for like $5 on VHS. Like it was everywhere, and it was cheap. Like Walmart now they have a $3.74 bin, which my friend Patrick Bromley from F This Movie, he calls it the Here You Take It bin. And that's how VHSs were, like at the tail end of that. It's like, well, I went for tortillas and I came out with Blade Runner, and I'm not sure how this happened, but I own it now. So yeah, that's a long-winded answer. I'm sorry.
No, it's perfect. It's like flooding my mind with all the VHSs, like the clamshell cases on the Disney stuff, and
Yeah.
seeing like I remember having like the Titanic, the double VHS combo, and having that in a locked cabinet for my parents wouldn't like let me watch it because Satan was there too.
Yeah.
On the ship.
Yeah.
He's uncredited, but he was there.
Satan was in
Anyway.
the art, the drawing of he's like, can I draw me like one of your French girls, Satan?
Like, yeah, and that was one of the uncut, unedited lines that was in the film that James Cameron's like, I don't know if the American audiences can handle this, but like I'll go ahead and put this like on this THX version, like the last time you can get it. So yeah.
And then he lit a cigar with $1,000 bill,
which is just beautiful, like honestly. So so I guess from there, like going from that DVDs, like from VHS to DVD, did you have like a moral panic attack with like having to transition those at all?
I don't remember that I did. I was really excited about it. I probably had like fear for my wallet because, I mean, even now, right? Like we're the physical media community. Like we were talking before we started rolling about like, we have so much stuff because physical media is just like they're super serving us. This is the same when DVD came along. I was like, wait a minute. I can get Batman. Batman was one of my first DVD purchases. I was like, I can get this Warner Brothers snapper case.
Yeah, the
Batman
snapper
DVD.
case. Yeah.
And it's like, it's in widescreen and I don't have to rewind it. And it's got subtitles. Wait a minute. What?
Interactive menu.
Yeah. And that was before they really started doing like special features in the early days of DVD were the text, like the biographies and stuff. And that was amazing. It's like, well, they're telling us about the movie. And then when they got commentary tracks, I remember Saving Private Ryan was one when it came out. I was just like, holy crap, this DVD. And like we all went to Circuit City to get, it was like Christmas time, I want to say. And we all went to Circuit City for Saving Private Ryan. And we were just like, look, commentary. There's this a making of document. Like it was unbelievable. So I don't remember being like, oh, not again. But I do think with every new format, we're always like, well, I'm just going to replace my favorites. And I'm not like, I don't need to rebuy everything, but invariably most of us do end up rebuying everything because why not? Like if you love this stuff, you want it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I do remember having a conversation with a guy. I had taken my VHSs to a pawn shop and like a friend of the family, he went to our church. Satan was not in the pawn shop. Not in
the church either.
No,
for legal reasons.
No, not at all. Right. And he was like, don't sell these. Don't sell your VHS tapes. And I was like, but DVD. But DVD's so much better. And he was like, but it's a fad. It's not going to last. And you're going to wish you had your movies and you're not going to have anything to play your DVDs on. And I was like, I'm going to go for it. I specifically remember, I think I wanted to sell enough VHSs that I had the money to go buy Blade on DVD. Because that was one of the early, it was like Blade, The Matrix. Those were like the system sellers right there. And you had to, but I remember, and I was like, I don't think you're right. I think this is better and people are going to know, which is kind of how I feel about 4K now. When people are like, no, it's never, I'm like, I don't think you're right. I think this is better and it's going to be okay. So, yeah.
I'm getting there too. Yeah. I mean, did you ever have time? Like, yeah, we do got time, a little bit of time. But I will say like, did you ever, cause I know for me, because I had some VHSs, but I only had like the Disney VHSs, maybe like The Matrix, Titanic, and a few other blockbusters, right, for that time period, like Braveheart, and maybe I'm pretty sure I think around that time I had a lot of 80s and 90s movies, and maybe a few 2000s. I remember. I bet
you had Gladiator too. Did you have Gladiator?
I did have Gladiator and like Lord of the Rings. Like I had the first two on VHS actually, because I know the third one didn't even come out on VHS. Like at least I don't remember it coming out on VHS.
I don't remember.
But like I can see behind you, you got the extended trilogies and DVD and Blu-ray, and I have that too.
Yeah.
like over there, and then there's the DVDs are over on that side and the Blu-rays are
Yeah.
on this side for me, because like I can't cut, I can never get rid of those things.
They're too pretty. They
They
just
are
look
too
so
pretty,
good.
and they're precious too. And so
There.
but yeah, luckily I was able to, because I worked at a record store, in the early 2010s time period, and it also doubled as a DVD and Blu-ray shop too. And so I was just switching all my DVDs to Blu-rays, trying to get like sell as much as I could to get like an upgrade on this. Like luckily I worked at the store, so like I can get away with some stuff that, like for
You
legal
didn't get a
reasons.
5-finger discount, did you?
I can't say. Luckily the business doesn't exist anymore. So
Like they're like, this title just walked out the door. We had this and we can't account for it now. And they look at you
yeah,
and you're like, I have to go
I,
help this customer. I'm sorry.
I gotta go home. Sorry. I gotta go put this Blu-ray up that I just found. So, but I was gonna ask you, like, I guess you just keep transitioning from each format, right? And I guess is the majority of your collection, is it a mixture of all like DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K?
And VHS. I still have VHS
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
It's about 50-50 between DVD and Blu-ray. I mean, almost like perfectly split. Because 4K is great, but it's not going to be it's not going to reach the heights that Blu-ray did.
Right.
It will remain a niche format. I think it will be successful for what it is, but I don't think we're going like, here's all these Kino Lorber discs and stuff. I don't think any of those will probably come to 4K. Like that, it's only going to be the most successful, the most popular, the most mainstream.
Right.
And then the new stuff, I guess, too, which I'm not so interested in. But, your Back to the Futures, your the Braveheart, Gladiator, the movies that always lead each format. That's what 4K will probably really succeed at. But yeah, I have stuff that, like, I can't. I was gonna, like, I could show you this, but I really can't. Like, I've got Doctor Who VHS tapes, and I've got serials on VHS, and there's some movie, because as good as we have it, there's still movies that don't have DVD releases.
Oh yeah, I know.
So yeah, it's just my passion and my kind of, even the thesis maybe behind Serial at Midnight is just like, watch more stuff. It doesn't matter how good it looks, just see it first, and then you can upgrade later.
Yeah.
So my collection is a reflection of that.
Yeah, that's I mean, like, yeah, that's a good mentality to have, especially because it's something you got to enjoy, right?
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, like, we were talking a little bit earlier, is like, you can't just constantly make this something that is, you can't keep doing it to be busy, but also at the same time, it's like you got to also like escape from
Yeah.
the stuff going on in the world, and like enjoy the stuff that we are all like watching. And I think at the end of the day, that's kind of why we talk about the things that we do, and why we like to share the things that we like to share to everybody else, because it's something that other people in our community can like be like, oh yeah, I watched that back in 1998 or 1972, and then like I remember this. Or like, for me, it's like I'm a little bit younger, so it's like oh, I remember watching that in 2004, and like it's like, and I was definitely a different person then. So
and there's too many people that are, I mean, we know how many people are doing these pickup videos, and they're not watching the stuff that they're picking up, and they have nothing to say about it. And so there's no conversation to be had about, there's no mentorship to be like, oh, this is, like, I see Sam Fuller over your shoulder. Like, you can talk about Sam Fuller in a way that, like, well, what an interesting director and his career, like, and then you can bring people in with you. But if you're only buying things because this looks pretty, and there's companies that are I'm not going to name names, but there are companies, and I think people can figure it out, who are selling movies as, basically they're selling them as trading cards. They don't talk about the movie. They talk about the packaging. They talk about the slipcover. And by and large, the people that are buying those movies are not watching those movies. They bought them because it's got a number on the spine, or it's got but the slipcover, it's got like hollow foil in the, it's the comics of the 90s, I mean,
Right.
like, that's not a reason to buy something. and it ultimately doesn't lead to an appreciation of the arts or the format. And like we do this because we love movies and records and
Right.
comics and stuff, but it's the stories inside, it's the stories, it's the experiences, it's the art that you relate to. And it's so important that if you're buying it, like watch it and talk about it and spread the love of it, because collecting should take a back seat to passion of the love of stuff. So,
Right.
and I hope my collection is a reflection of that.
And that's something I've had to learn myself, because I definitely, sometimes I make Blu-ray hauls and whatnot of
Yeah.
things that I've recently picked up because I'm interested in them. And unfortunately, stuff behind me. So like, the Anya Varda or maybe that Sam Fuller box set, like I'm going to get to that, like, but and I have not much to say about them. Like
Yeah.
I just, and I sometimes I feel a little bit
But
guilty
you
because
will.
but I will. Yeah, I eventually will. Because like right now it's November, and so I'm watching all these noirs, and like I'm watching these Kino noir sets, and I'm like I haven't seen any of them, and so like now it's the time to like I feel like I want to watch these movies, and so like eventually I will watch the Sam Fuller, the Varda, like just depends on my mood, and luckily I gotta appreciate the journey and not collect them like trading cards, like constantly, and make me not say too much about the film because at the end of the day, if I'm going to share something with everybody, I want it to be substantial, right? And so
Yes.
that it definitely means a lot there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But getting back to your film journey,
Yes.
and Satan, he's there.
He's always in the corners. Yeah.
He's always there. It's like, well, the captain's watching over for us.
That's right. He's been blessed by a priest. So.
Oh, that's good. Like, well, what kind of priest? Are we talking about like a voodoo priest or like on Easter Island? Okay. Can't say for legal reasons.
Confidential.
Yeah,
it may have happened in the Polynesian area. Beyond that it's confidential.
And we'll cut this part, yeah, for legal purposes.
Yeah.
So I guess so. You were saying that Robin Hood, right, was probably when you kind of noticed that obsession, where you're like, okay, I know that director, I know that actor, or cinematographer maybe, or you start getting into like the weeds of like, okay, I might be interested in. Is there a time in your life where you're like that went like full blown like okay, I'm really obsessed with this? And do you remember that time period?
It started with Robin Hood, and it was thereafter. It really, like everything thereafter. Going through like Jurassic Park was a big movie for my generation, and living through that special effects, like it's like a handoff. It was like it was a new era for me. And I'm thinking so I can give you like a really good answer. It was during, I don't 95, 96, 97. I'm really paying attention to that was like a golden age of it was like a resurgence of auteur cinema because Tarantino came out of that, and I mean I can't even think of any other names, but like so many, that was like the Miramax era, which like
right, yeah,
all those movies that like Weinstein did horrible things, but he greenlit a lot of great movies. And that there was a very big discovery time for me because I was through high school and into, I'm talking about going to Suncoast Motion Pictures Company and stuff.
I remember Suncoast. I remember going there.
It was, I mean, it was great. It was expensive, but it was great.
Yeah, it was
expensive.
You could
get like cardboard cutouts of like The Godfather or something. I don't know. They had posters in the back. It was great. But I was really aware of the kinds of movies that were being brought out, and that the voices were not always big corporate studio. It wasn't all Spielberg. It wasn't all, who are some of the other big directors of this, like Barry Levinson? I don't know.
Oh yeah. People. I mean, at that time, I think a lot of the bigger names are kind of winding down for those newer names.
Yeah.
Like for Tarantino or like Fincher, like a lot of those people were like kind of picking up
Fincher
around
was
that time. Yeah, and even like Terry Gilliam, like with 12 Monkeys near the end, like that, he kind of went in a different direction too. Like he kind of got on that ride of like that darker kind of side, that grittier stuff of the 90s.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, and I was hyper aware of that. That was all. I feel like those were being made for me, for my generation.
Mm-hmm.
I still love the old stuff. I still loved, Back to the Future and Teen Wolf and, whatever else. But those movies really felt special to me, and they still do. And it kind of sucks for me. Like, this is where, like, I don't want to be Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino and be like, "You get off my lawn." But I do feel like the modern blockbuster pattern, like, we had something really beautiful from like 95 to about 2003, 4.
Mm-hmm.
And they would make tons of movies, lower budget movies. They would take chances on things, and none of that really exists right now. Now with COVID, that I think that's all about to change.
Sure.
But
yeah.
But the risks and the young voices, I feel like they've had to go. You used to could get, like, during that era, 95, 98, whatever, you could get $3 million to go make a movie with, hey, we got Sandra Bullock and we've got Jason Lee and, who are like these young talents, and you could get $3 million and you could go make this movie on film, distributed by a studio. And not so much now. Now it's either got to be like super micro, very indie, or it's got to be 150, $200 million.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's an in between. Yeah, it's usually like there's a Netflix film or maybe some kind of indie film at a very small budget where like you have, X number, like, well, I mean, stuff like Netflix, they put out so much stuff all the time. Yeah. Most of it not being not that good usually. A few things that are gems, but and then you get like the Marvel Avenger films, or you get the bigger budget ones like that, and that in between stuff is really kind of not there anymore. So yeah, I do feel like there's going to be a renaissance, like a resurgence, because of I think when we see a lot of maybe some of the best stuff in cinema is when we have tumultuous times, stuff that we got to struggle through. And so I do think there's going to be a creative an art resurgence just because of it. And but yeah, we'll just live through it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was a great time. That was when it was like, I feel lucky to have come kind of age in that era of, it wasn't as widespread as the 70s auteur movement, but it did feel like a mini auteur rise. And we were paying attention to directors, and we were paying attention to writers and screenwriters and cinematographers and stuff like that. And it was, yes, that's when I really feel like I came into film fandom, not just being a fan of this movie, just like, I like movies. I was always the kid that liked movies, but then it became something else.
Yeah. And I can see that transition in other parts of culture too, like music. Like it's like getting over that, like that hair metal and like that glam of the 80s, and like kind of getting to that grungier, grittier side of things. Yep. And yeah, and so like it, it transitioned into that, and then it got a little bit more commercial in the 2000s, right? Mm-hmm. And started becoming a little bit more blockbuster heavy and safer. That's the safe word.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I guess thinking back, like obviously Robin Hood started that obsession, but like what about overall, like what would you say is your favorite film of all time, if you had one, or is it transition occasionally? What do you think?
I can't. I mean, the answer, when people ask me what's your favorite movie, I say it's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, but that's not. I mean, these days I would say, like, well, what genre? And I could name you my 10 favorite movies in this genre. It's really hard, and it's also like, well, what am I feeling right now? What is in the list at all times is That Thing You Do. It's a lot of my movies are like musically fueled. Maybe A Hard Day's Night is in there as well. But I mean, I owe so much to Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, even though I don't watch it anymore, really.
Right.
It's untouchable for me. So,
that makes me think too, is like, well, what about this notion of like what we choose as our favorite thing, right? Or like, I mean, obviously it's fluid, but like we have this decision and we haven't returned to it in a long time. So like, for instance, for me, like my answer is Lord of the Rings, which I do return to fairly often. I haven't done it this year, and I haven't done it last year because last year I was in China for 4 months, and so normally around that time I would have tried to, but like I know that for me, it's like I'm not going to revisit my favorite films all the time, just because of the nature of what we do, right? And how many films we like watching, because it's all mood dependent.
Right.
So I guess, with that thought, like, what do you think of like that notion that we kind of choose something, that we really, really enjoy from like our past, and kind of just stick with that answer? You know what I mean?
I think that's the answer you give to certain people, and then when you're on when you have an inner circle, you can open up more. Sometimes people say in the comments of some of my videos, like I'll say, I didn't like this movie when I saw it, and I later came around. So I think you need to revisit things. So you're like every. Oh, I don't want to do a hot take. See if I can say this in a way that doesn't seem threatening.
Well, we got to take Satan out of the conversation. Hot takes, colder takes. Yeah. So
listen, if this comes across like a lead balloon, you can cut it out. But I think people that really love movies and really love the art of cinema and storytelling, and like you're talking about a film journey, those people are constantly evaluating things, and things shift around. I don't trust the opinion of someone who says, I've liked this movie the same since 1969 and it doesn't change. Like someone told me, more than one person, people will say, my opinions don't change. If I like something, I always like it. If I don't like it, I will always not like it. I'm like, how are you growing? Because as we mature, our perspective changes. The movie doesn't change, but we move throughout our lives and our experiences. What I watch, at 19, I hope I feel differently about it in my 30s or my 40s because I have so much more life experience. I didn't, like, no, I won't go down there. But like, you learn, you pick up things. And so I hope that we're reevaluating things, but you can't, like you're out to dinner with friends and they're like, so what's your favorite movie? You talk about movies on the YouTube. What's your favorite movie? You give them.
Yeah. You give them this kind of like, okay, go away answer. Like I will say this.
Yes.
Like, yeah, but you're right. No,
we're having conversations on YouTube because of that love, because of the conversations around it.
Yeah. And it keeps changing too. And with those life experiences too. Cause I can think of a lot of films that, I have a nostalgia for and that I really love. And if I rewatch it, some of them are comfort watches, right? Like I'll watch like Princess Bride because that's one of my favorite films, and it's a lot of people's favorite films. And like I will still love that film, but like at different times in my life, I can't say that's like ultimately my favorite thing of all time to watch. Like, is at this, like maybe at this moment, like I've been watching noir films. Last month I was watching a lot of Hammer films, and like I was really enjoying that time, like because it's all dependent on that mood that I have, and it's all dependent on what everyone else is kind of talking, what's going on in my life too, like.
And what about the actors? Sometimes the actors in the movie, I mean, we want this stuff to exist in a vacuum, but like I grew up with Die Hard, one of my favorite movies of all time. Bruce Willis continues to just like erode every bit of goodwill that he has in the industry. And the more story, you hear stories about him answering the phone and he's like, you're talking to the big star. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch it. Like it's always changing. Always.
Yeah. Which is good in that, like you said, it's a growth. It is a good thing. And I think most of us in this community are like that. And so hopefully the people that in the comment sections who are like, this is my favorite movie of all time, can at least kind of evaluate their own answer.
It's your favorite movie right now. Hopefully.
Yeah. I'm going to start.
If it stays the same, that's okay too. But are you thinking about it? Are you open,
I think I'm going to change this question now to what's your favorite movie at this moment? Because I think that's a good perspective to have at this. Because I think I do kind of feel like when I was coming up with these questions initially, like I wanted to get as much general information as possible from, different people. But like you said, like, well, you got to start getting creative a little bit, but also at the same time, get a little bit more complex with the questions. Right. So it's a good one.
Favorite movie right now is I'm going to say it's That Thing You Do, because Listen, I saw it new in theaters. I loved it. It made me happy. I had the poster on my wall. I worked at the video counter at the grocery store that I worked at when I was making $78 a week to go buy. I somehow got my hands on the That Thing You Do poster from the video department of the store. And it was on my wall. I loved the movie, and then I kind of put it away for 10 or 15 years. And now, like the last 3 years, my birthday is in August, and it's my birthday movie every year. And so we just watched it a couple of months ago, and I was telling my wife, Brie, I was like, I just want to watch that movie like every day. It makes me happy. It
Yeah.
inspires me to be better. Like it just reminds me, like it fills me with joy, and joy is something that I want to feel. So for now, that's what it is.
It's a good answer, and Satan is very far away from it. So I'm
Yes.
very happy that that's your answer.
What if I was like The Exorcist?
Like, well, he's kind of there. Like, yeah, it's the thing he does, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I guess she, because Linda Blair. But anyway, I don't know. But I guess where I would transition here. So obviously, kind of looping around and thinking about all of the situations and life experiences that we've had with film and why it means so much to us. What do you think movies mean to you currently? Like I guess in this day and age, even with something like your channel, right? Like, is this a fluid thing? Like, or does it mean everything?
Can you? I don't know. I honestly don't know how to answer. Like, I love movies. It means a lot of different things.
Sure.
Lead me in some different directions. Like, or hold my hand a little bit for this. So,
Okay.
as a YouTuber, like, what does it mean as a YouTuber, or what does it mean in my personal life, or?
Yeah, I mean, you can go different directions with this. Like, I
You
guess.
just want me to talk about what they mean to me.
Yeah, so I guess for right now, like, you know, obviously we're living in a very unique time period in our lives, and almost everybody's because of COVID and
Yeah.
things going on politically and whatnot. But you know, what do movies serve for you right now, like in your life?
It's a complicated answer because the YouTube thing changes everything.
Sure.
They are ultimately an escape, and that's the most important thing, is that they allow us to experience lives of others through their eyes. And I think that's important because people, you know, I get people a lot like, well, what's the value? Did you bought this at a thrift store? What's the value? And I'm like, well, the value is
Whatever you make of it.
secondary. Huh?
Whatever you make of it, right? Like what it means to you.
The monetary value needs to be secondary to the art itself and the stories. Like I love movies because I love the stories. I love going on these journeys. I love seeing other perspectives, going to different places. You know, I haven't been to China. You've been to China, but I can watch movies that take me to China. I can watch Bruce Lee films that take me to a place, you know, to the dirtiest alleys with the fight halls and stuff. I mean, they really are transportative to get us out of our. They can take us places that we can't go, but they can also show us perspectives that we don't necessarily, that feel foreign to us. So I value them so much, and I love, like, I like literally, like, I don't dislike any movies really. When I'm watching a movie, I'm just happy to be watching that story. That, you know, I say I don't dislike any movie. That's not true, because I do. I was thinking of one very specifically that rhymes with Roker, that I really think has very little value. But they're by and large, they're perspectives of people that movies are made by people with a voice. You can see the fingerprints of the creators. Hopefully, not always in modern blockbusters, but hopefully you can see the fingerprints of the people that created them, their experiences. This is why I love like 70s and 80s movies and even 60s movies so much too, because they'll go like weird directions. And you're like, why did it go here? It's because that's what the writer, there's like, and then I want this to happen. And you're like, how wonderful to be invited inside someone's mind, like in a book or a novel. But on YouTube, I have made this work. It's wonderful work. It's the work I've chosen and I love it, but it does now come with a an obligation, and I no longer am able to watch a movie and just watch the movie and just let the story roll over me. I'm like, how would I talk about this? Why
Mm-hmm.
is this chosen? Was this the best decision for, and was this a distributor? Was that in the original script, or was that a studio note? And I don't like that. I kind of hate
Right.
that. And I wish I could turn it off, but I can't. So movies to me represent escape, but they do also represent like this, like to an extent, a level of work that hopefully I can get away from, because it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. And I mean, and hopefully, I'm sure this with a lot of people watching this, and even people who are content creators too. Like, I'm sure there's that struggle that happens with, and I know that for me too. It's, some of the things that I've purchased, like you can see behind both of us, like we have boutique label things where we started getting so invested into the film itself that we started thinking about all these different aspects of it. And when we're watching it, we're almost kind of dissecting it like a scientist would in a lab to an extent. I mean, we're enjoying it too, to some extent, obviously,
Sure, yeah.
we keep doing it. But, it will be really nice once we get to certain parts of our lives where maybe we aren't content creating or like with this stuff, and we can just kind of relax and like retire with all this and like not have to have that mindset.
Yeah.
So I do very much look forward to simplifying that, sometime in my life.
Yeah.
And I hope you get there too.
It will be on me, because it's me that pushes to these things.
Right.
It's this weird stubbornness, and like, I mean, I have like, this is my review palooza stack here. I'm building. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
well, these are things I have to talk about, and when you have to talk about something, you're going to approach it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
No one has put that on me but myself, so I've just got to be like, dude, just enjoy it. And I've never covered that thing you do in a video or in any sort of a write-up, so it's like, it's just for me, it's just for fun. So I have to find more ways to do that.
Yeah. And I think, if anything, this year for me, there's a lot of things going on right now, and trying to simplify it to an extent,
Mm-hmm.
and making sure that like my own mental health is important enough to where I can kind of separate these different worlds, like work or, um, relationships in life, and what that all looks like. You have to like figure out this weird balance, and it's the
Yeah.
constant thing that everyone has to
And I
do.
have completely failed at that. I have.
Think we all have to some
Yeah.
extent, but we're
Like,
gonna
dude,
get
like
there.
10 years ago, if I tried to do Serial at midnight 10 years ago, wouldn't have, like, I wouldn't have happened. There's no way. Because I've given it everything. I've given it, like, I have a teenager now, so I'm able to step back a little bit because she doesn't want me up in her business all the time. And I have a very great relationship with my wife, but like a new marriage or a younger child, like, I literally could not give this what I feel like it needs to be given to succeed. But see, even then, I'm like, is that true, or is that just how I just push because that's all I know how to do?
Right. And there's that. Yeah, I mean, it all. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all on you, right? And how you kind of
Yeah,
perceive these situations and areas. But at the end of the day, we're gonna get through. What we get through, and hopefully we got each other for that, and as much as we
absolutely.
can, and that's why
This
we do these
community is
things.
so important, and it's talking about different perspectives. I mean, that's where the community is so valuable, because you can have, you know, different conversations, different experiences with the same thing. And we all, the film community online, I don't know a whole lot about Twitter. I don't get on Twitter so much, but
Yeah, I'm
most of
not
what I
on it too
see,
much
we're
either.
all elevating each other. It's an upward lifting thing. It's not a negative place. It's a really kind and caring place.
Yeah, and I can cherish that a lot, and that's one of the things that I've had a struggle with myself too, just because I don't want to get too invested into YouTube. I hope you're following along what I'm saying here, but like
Yep.
I don't want to where I don't want to get to a point to where this uh, it's almost like too good to be true, and there's like too many people invested into it, and like it like as much as I want to share, and I want more and more people to come around and like share these experiences with us. At the same time, it's like almost insular at the same, and
Yes.
that community part of it, if it's expanded so much, then that dissemination will kind of stagnate the magic of what makes it so, like, lovely, especially with what we're doing. I hope that made sense to everybody.
It made total sense. Yes, it's
So,
true. It's true as well. I can say it is true. The bigger your channel gets, it has benefits. It has a lot of benefits, but
sure,
there are
yeah.
sacrifices that are made to get there.
Yeah.
And the insular sense of community is like, my channel, like Serial at Midnight, we have a wonderful community, such a wonderful community, but it's not the same community that it was at 1,000 views or 1,000 subscribers. It's just not. And I do sometimes miss that. So I do understand what you're saying. Like it all comes at a cost.
Yeah. But yeah, we got to live with that cost and kind of go through with it, and, just be happy with what we're doing, and hopefully get through it. So, but yeah, I think this has been a really good conversation. What do you think?
I think it's good.
Also,
little more raw than I intended to be, but it's real.
Well, I think it's because Satan has come over here, and I've decided to take him from you. That way, you don't have to deal with him today.
Well, that's how it works. It's like a carrier. Satan has been transferred to you.
Well, it's that messed up it's that messed up beam from Star Trek. So
yeah,
it's very much like that. I have one of those in the corner of the room. Like, now I have Satan here. So great.
Oh man, gonna need to call a priest.
I know. Well, it's Sunday.
I'll send Captain Tiki.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So I guess, where can everybody find you?
Serialatmidnight.com. That's the best place. That links to the YouTube channel, to social media. Serialatmidnight.com.
Perfect. And I'll put that down in the description for everybody. And I'm sure most of the people who've clicked on this know Heath pretty well. And I hope most of you who don't know Heath, I hope you can find out more information about him and his channel, and all the amazing work that he does, especially with the captain right next to him, by his side. So, you got anything else to say, Heath?
No, thanks. Listen, thanks for having me so much. I do feel like I got a little bit dark and negative there at the end. I want to say, like, it's a privilege to be able to do, to talk to a camera and have people watch and care what you have to say. And that's a blessing. It really is. And we are fueled by our passion. We are fueled by our love. And at the end of the day, this is better than anything. Like, what do you want to go, like, dig ditches, or you want to work in the sewage department or something? Like, this is a really wonderful place, and it's filled with wonderful people, and so many of us are looking out for each other and learning and encouraging each other, and I'm so thankful for it, and I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for this opportunity to talk to you.
Well, I'm thankful as well, and I hope this is the start of, it's been a continuation, but I'm just really happy that we're able to talk and share different viewpoints and have all these different perspectives and different voices. And I'm looking forward to growth, both personally and among all of us. And so thank you again.
And then growth.
Well, of course, I lost a little weight in China, and so just because I walked a lot, I didn't drive. I don't want to drive there anymore. It's a scary place. But I might go back. Who knows? Anyway, I don't want to go back to darker places, in my time. But anyway, thank you so much, Heath, for joining once again. I hope everyone can check out his website and all of the different links that it entails. And thank you very much. If anyone thought of any questions or this sparked any conversations that you might want to have, go down in the comment section down below and tell us your thoughts, because I would be very interested, and so would Heath, to be reading those comments, and we'll definitely be interacting with that. So thank you once again for watching. Give this a like, comment down below, share this video, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.
Make it rain.
All right, bye.